The Nazis of Oregon Part 2. See, this spread of Nazism in America. Well, we can see plainly and clearly how the homeless are the brunt of the same laws that the Nazis imposed. We can see that the mentally ill are subject to the same. We have two sets of laws in the United States. The laws for the rich and the laws for the poor. The laws of the rich do not apply to the poor, and of course, vice versa is also true. We don't have any rights. The more poor you are, the less rights you have. We have lobbyists, not lobbying for the homeless or homeless rights, but lobbying for business rights, property rights, ownership rights. And of course, in many cases, we even have private companies fighting with different states over their right to utilize slave labor. That's right, slave labor, 13th Amendment. A lot of people's solution is, hey, we should just round up all these homeless people, force them into labor camps. Hey, we could get rid of the homeless problem. We could round them all up and put them in internment camps. We could get rid of the homeless problem. We could round them up and do what we've been doing and just keep putting them in the oven. An old black and white photograph. That's interesting. Wonder who it is. It's some sort of artistic shrine, I suppose. You get a lot of them in Hippieville, don't you? But people don't like hippies, do they? No, they don't. That's where the most hate and discontent come from. We don't want to see them filthy hippies, do we? No, they're not human beings to us, are they? It's like brown people. As a Nebraskan, I don't fit in there. I don't hate brown people. I don't hate Mexicans. I don't assume that everybody who's brown is Mexican. Now, of course, there it is a very racist place. And obviously they're blaming the wrong people. If you're spending $50 a night on booze, you do not get to pretend it's the fault of blacks and Mexicans that you're always broke. Now let's check something out here. I don't know what this is, so we're gonna move it with the picture. We'll see if it's it's just a cartridge from one of them vapes. Alright. Well, that's safe to pick up. Now, what was the reason for touching it with the picture before picking it up? Make sure it's not a sharp. Make sure it's not a needle. Make sure I don't get poked in the finger. I mean, yeah, it's not likely that a mom and her child are going to go walking down this street as hot as it is on a day like today. But it will happen. Do you know why? Because there are poor people that, regardless of how fucking hot it is, have to walk. They still have to go get groceries. They still got to feed their kids. They still need to go get that Mexican formula. While you guys want to hate on Mexicans, thank goodness for their formula. Right? You don't want any brown people here, but you want them to feed your babies. Are you fucking crazy? Of course you are. You're a neurotypical. Your brain is non-functional. It is unfortunate that you neurotypicals do not have a superior brain like those of high-functioning autistic folks. It is also unfortunate that you have not realized the superior functionality of low-functioning autistic folks. There's a woman in Chapel, Nebraska. Her name is Laura Nelson. Her son is considered low functioning autistic. He is literally the smartest child in his school. He just doesn't speak. He's not an idiot. He's not retarded. And he's a wonderful excuse for a human being. Laura Nelson used to complain to me all the time about how the teachers, after she would tell the teachers something triggered him, the teachers themselves would do that over and over again to him. She was wondering why it is. She's telling them, hey, this is what triggers my son, so please try to avoid that. And they're going out of their way to try to say, oh, well, he's dangerous. We don't want to deal with him. He's difficult. No, he's not. No, he's absolutely not. Laura's son is the sweetest boy in the whole fucking my God. You don't get much sweeter than him. It's kind of like Jeremy Elliott. These two young men, they have completely different mental illnesses. According to the DSM-5, they're both considered mentally ill. Of course, you get to see where Jeremy Elliott is now. He didn't do nothing wrong, but he's locked up anyway. Even with a grandma that loves him, it doesn't matter because he has a mother that doesn't. A mother who thinks that it's okay to take advantage of him and his situation and play the oh poor me. No, you're a fucking alcoholic, and now your son is locked up because you're an alcoholic. Now, can we take that out on Laura Nelson? Is it Laura Nelson's fault that Lori, God, what is her last name? I want to say it's still Elliott. Similar names and all that. What's that got to do with Oregon? Well, just like everywhere else, these cops are refusing to do their jobs. They're all being fucking candy asses and panty wastes, pulling real heavy on this, oh, we've been defunded bullshit. My question is, really, have they? Because they got all sorts of money to be spending out their backsides. Where are they getting the millions of dollars that they're paying out in lawsuits? Meanwhile, are these lawsuits going out to any of their homeless victims? No, they're not. You fucking hate us. And these articles, well, for many years, have reflected that. Since 1997, when they lifted the restrictions created in the 1920s on the media, the restrictions that made it so they had to report on both sides, and they had to try to verify the shit that they were saying, and that they could be held legally responsible. But 1997 come around, and we went, well, you know, maybe we should go back to the tabloids of the 1920s, and here we are 100 years in the past. Of course, not literally, for those of you who want to, of course, try to twist everything that I say into some schizophrenic rant. We got these laws, we got this technology. We want to bring up old-ass laws. Old stuff that, of course, there was no way back then to actually be able to see who the good guy and the bad guy was. We didn't have access to video cameras the way we have now, where we can just fit it in the palm of our hands. We didn't have instant gratification of information. We had to go to the library, and we, of course, had to be able to read. Today, we've got plenty of people that know how to read, but their reading comprehension is complete shit. Their brains get all gummed up with puberty, and then they can't function after that. They go through their entire adult life brain damaged. The most irresponsible thing that you can do is to become an adult. Some of the shittiest parents I know, they want to They want to use their kids as excuses every time they do something fucked up. It's their kid's fault that it happened. Their kids must have done it. Or of course, oh, I'm afraid for my kids, or I can't help you, I have kids, or I need help, I have kids. So people with kids, even though they were irresponsible and got pregnant and knocked up because they were irresponsible and didn't use a condom, and it's the rest of us that pay for it. And then of course, they are perpetual victims, ain't they? We owe it to them because they have kids. I got a real problem with this abortion stuff just because ain't nothing else in place. Is the Catholic Church going to take care of all these children? Huh? That's what I want to know. Is the Catholic Church that is pushing this shit on us, are they going to take care of these children? And if they do, how are they going to take care of these children? Are they going to take care of these children the way they took care of those Native American children? Huh? That's right, those were Catholic schools. Those were Lutheran schools. Those were Baptist schools. Those were state-run church schools in Canada, the United States, and Mexico. And what is people's solution? Their final solution always comes down to the same thing. We should just shove them all into internment camps. We should just shove them all onto reservations. We should just shove them all here and shove them all there. Hey, this is the trashiest land we can find. That's perfect for them. They should be happy with this. It's all sand. They can't grow anything, but hey, at least they can have fun playing in a sandbox. This is fucking insanity. There is no goddamn common sense to the American people, and it's got a lot to do with the pharmaceuticals that you people are fucking eating. You notice I'm in extreme fucking pain all the goddamn time. But I won't take their fucking opiates. I don't want their opiates. I know what their opiates turn people into. They're called addicts. And they're not humans to you any more than the disabled or the homeless. If their family cares, you'll care. You'll say, oh, how horrible it is that people are treating a disabled person like that. But when that person is alone and homeless, you go, oh, well, he's probably going to be the next Unabomber. He's the next Ted Kaczynski. He's the next Jack the Ripper. He's the next school shooter. Mentally ill, mentally ill. Same as always, going all the way back to Roman times. All of the worst atrocities always start with the weakest of our society. Well, these aren't the weakest. They're the ones who are disarmed. They're the ones that are not subject to, well, any of the rights that we're supposed to have. And that comes down, again, to the lack of cameras. You can make it as illegal as you want to beat black people to death, or to choke black people to death, or to shoot unarmed black people to death. You can make those laws in the 1960s, the 1970s, the 1980s, the 1990s, all up to today. Same exact laws, couple of different words. But when it all comes down to it, what's the same failure going all the way back? The same exact failure? Our failure to add teeth to it. Our failure to recognize the shortcomings of just believing an oath. If someone says that it didn't happen and they got a badge, of course that must be true, correct? Ooh, more pretty flowers. Those look like snapdragons, but they're different. What are those? Are those sweet peas? Fuck if I know. So of course, we gotta have these great ideas, don't we? We wanna say, hey, let's shove these homeless people here and shove these homeless people there. Well, anywhere that you put people, that area is going to look lived in, because it is lived in. People fucking live there. Where do you want us to go? Do you want us to walk into the ocean? Is that what you want? Do you want to just take all of the homeless people? You know what? Hell, you guys are greedy even with the shit land now. That's been shown time and again. Let's take a look at Hardin, Montana. That used to be on a reservation. Now it's just outside of it. That reservation was 5 times larger only 100 years ago. Sorry, 150 years ago. They keep shrinking it over and over again. If they're going to keep on taking the land away from the natives, you really think they're going to allow us our own peace? You really think your internment camps, you think those are going to work for the homeless and the disabled? No. You won't let us protect each other. Yes, the homeless absolutely need to be armed. What the homeless need to be armed with is cameras. The rest of you, we need you guys to be armed with your Second Amendment rights. We need you to exercise those Second Amendment rights for our First Amendment rights. Not just mine, not just the homeless, not just the disabled, because any one of you could be forced into homelessness at any point in time. Any one of you could get into a car accident and get brain damage. Any one of you could get ran over by a vehicle and fuck your back up, fuck your leg up, and not be able to work for a while or permanently. And if you ain't got family and you can't fill out that paperwork yourself, or they want to deny you because you have to go in by yourself and that is their standard procedure, nobody gives a fuck how hard you worked. Nobody gives 2 shits about your 24 months working for Halliburton over in Iraq in 130-degree heat. Nobody gives 2 shits about that. What they care about is that you're a fucking hobo, and hobos make trash. Of course, housies could never make trash. Is that what they're trying to insinuate? That because they live in houses, they don't make trash? This is fucking insanity, and you guys want to talk to me. Talk to me, who lives this, who sees it every day, who runs into that, well, like that fella earlier, Jim. Why did he leave? Why is he homeless? Fleeing abuse. Of course, he's sick of the homeless abuse, so he's fleeing back home to the woman who beats him. Yay. Meanwhile, what do these Oregonians want to say that they should do? They want to vote for drugs to be legal? Shit, I walk through here. I'm looking for drugs. I'm literally looking for heroin needles everywhere I go, everywhere I sit. I am paranoid to sit down. Why? It's not because of anything to do with Oregon. Oregon, as far as the needles go, it's fucking clean. There's no fucking heroin needles anywhere. None. There's a lady who walks around with a Sharps container, and if she knows where to look, I mean, I'm sure if I followed her for a couple of days, I would probably find out where she's going and what she's picking up and even who she's visiting with, because she's obviously picking up, you know, addicts' needles. She's making sure that even though these people are going to do this, whether it's legal or not, at least those needles aren't left out where your kid can touch them, where your kid can get a transmittable disease from touching the end of a needle that they didn't know was there. Maybe they're chasing a frog, maybe they're chasing a squirrel. Maybe the puppy dog decided it's going to go pee in the bush and they're the one holding the leash. Or the dog sees a squirrel and the kid gets pulled through and gets stubbed in the toe. Or even you as a parent. Washington State's bad. On this YouTube channel, you can see some of those videos. There are literally hundreds of needles. Hundreds of needles. And it's because the police, they refuse to do their jobs. They're even refusing to do their jobs for people in houses. Saying, oh, we don't have the funding. We don't have the funding. You know what? When you had the funding, you didn't do your fucking job, you fucking slob. Why the hell haven't we just fired the whole lot of them? We have the essentials, do we not? We have the infrastructure and the manpower with Much of this stuff with the federal government that these people rely on anyway, they rely on these crime labs. They rely on these people from other jurisdictions, other states, to come here for murders. It doesn't matter if it's here in Hood River, western Nebraska, especially in rural areas. Of course, those cops are not trained and not equipped to deal with that, even on their best day with the most money coming in. I'll be over to my car in a bit. Of course, this is the same area where I rested before, of course. There's a lot of trash here, but you know, this shit is right here, for example. This is a leg to a IKEA thing. I mean, somebody who's fucking homeless isn't gonna fucking buy that. They might pull it out of the dumpster if they think they can take it to their squat and utilize it, but this is not somebody's squat. That's just a piece of garbage somebody dumped. And as I was walking up here, you know, right down, I probably should have showed you that. I mean, there's a whole dump down the road there, just, oh, right there. Just beyond the end of the fence. I probably should walk that direction and show you, but I just don't feel like going that direction. I fucking hurt. Anyway, there's definitely a lot of people out on the streets who are on drugs. I never deny that. Ever. They make it bad for all of us. I don't deny that there are child molesters on the streets. They make it bad for all of us. But that doesn't make us all guilty of those crimes. And when it comes to crimes of homelessness, these are not crimes, these are essentials. Sleep is essential. Food, water, and shelter are essential. And according to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, until the base requirements are met, a person cannot continue on and advance in life. How am I supposed to defend myself or do any of this stuff that I'm expected to do without the resources to do it, when my basic needs are not met? Food, water, and shelter. My shelter is not adequate. Matter of fact, my shelter could potentially kill me if it stays as hot as it's been, and I have to stay there. It is scary for me to venture away from it. It's scary that it might get towed. It's full of the evidence that I need in order to clear my name and to get some actual predators off the streets. But that don't matter when we're stuck with Nazi tactics. Who is it that they're targeting? They're going to be passing a lot more Nazi laws here. And that's pretty apparent because this abortion thing is mind-blowing. I mean, they just set us back 50 years. And setting us back 50 years like that is showing us that they can and they will. And while that Operation Distraction is going on, you all know that that's going to get reversed. Everybody in fucking America knows that's going to get reversed. But what are they going to do in the meantime while that's what you're arguing about? Look how long it took them to give us pot. Of course, when they gave us pot, they wanted to open the floodgates, didn't they? Pot is not a gateway drug. Stupidity is. Ignorance is. False information is. Abuse is the number one gateway drug. Abuse is the number one cause of suicide. Abuse. I still love your boxer. Man has such a well-behaved dog. And it's trained too. I can tell by the way it holds itself and carries itself. It's beautiful. Not many people know how to train a boxer, or even what a boxer is to be trained for if you're not wanting to use it for fighting. And no boxer today is bred for fighting. So, yeah, he's doing right. Now, of course, we get to see it's beautiful here. This is not how Nebraska looks. This city, half of it is forest. A full half of this city, if not more, is forest. No trespassing, private drive. So, of course, what do? We make sure we doesn't trespasses. It's private drive. Sign, sign, everywhere, sign. That looks like a... God, what kind of tree is that? I would have guessed locust just looking quickly, but I don't recognize it. Do any of you know? Ooh, roses, and we got 3 different kinds. Those look like Kennedys. Huh. Mr. Lincolns are my favorites, though. Mr. Lincoln is my favorite rose bush of all time. And not because of its name, but because of its color, because of its smell. They smell as beautiful as the flower looks. Whereas some of them have quite a pungent smell. Most of the white roses have a pungent smell. It's not pleasant for me. But I also got a big fucking beak, so I can smell things you can't. Maybe not much better than you, but still better than most of you. Also, part of the reason for that is because I'm not one of those idiots who went shoving shit up his nose. Never tried cocaine. Ever. Never tried heroin. Never snorted meth. There's a lot of stuff on it. Wow! Look at that tree! Alright, we have to check this out. I won't be able to see in it as we walk by, but I'll check it out later and see what it looks like in there. That is a cool, cool tree. So is this one here. A little fairy hole. You can see right through. You can even see some light in there. That means that over on the other side... here's another one. What that means, though, is that on the other side... Oh, this tree is gonna die. Those branches are gonna fall and it's gonna destroy something. You can see the rot on the inside of it. This tree is in bad shape. But we know that there's a hole on this side because we can see the light going through. We can even see, wow, there's live branches growing inside of it. Oh my God, I wish I could, I don't know how good the resolution is there, but yeah. Absolutely, that is, oh, wow, guys, oh my God, yes, that is such a beautiful, look at it, that is, the tree's hollow, it's got tree growing inside of a tree. Obviously, I'm easily amused and easily entertained by simple things, but that back there is not a simple thing. That's nature at its finest. It's amazing that look how much foliage is on that. And you got to see how little tree there is in that trunk. That trunk is basically all hollow. And that tree is not going to last long. It's probably going to end up in the road. It's not... Well, it's not long enough to damage any of the houses on that side of the street, but on that side of the street, the house is probably pretty screwed, and this one might be in danger as well. Looking at the way that the branches are leaning, it's not going to fall down in one piece. It'll split when it falls. It'll fall in 2 to 3 different pieces. The structural integrity of one side is the only thing holding up the other side, and vice versa. Now, we got a lot of stuff here that they have in Virginia. We got a lot of stuff here that they have in Washington State. Ferns, absolutely. You're not going to find those in the Rockies, or not often, not much. The Rockies are pretty dry and barren. We had we had a lot of projects in the 1920s and 1930s to do what's called fire litigation. And the whole point of, oh, that's a dead baby bird. The whole point of fire litigation is basically anything that can burn, you want to pick up so that it won't burn. And the reason they hired all of these people to do fire litigation is because, well, it was the 1920s and 1930s. Everybody was fucking broke. Everybody was out of work. Had to build us a Hoover Dam and shit like that in order to keep people, well, going to work. Now we got a situation now where we have reached a peak and pivotal moment in American history where we're going to have to decide if we're going to go the Nazi route or if we're going to Charlie out. When in doubt, Charlie out. See your way out the fucking door. Now I get that we don't want to see other people suffer in other countries, but we do have to worry about our own. You know, we got people who are, you know, you guys only care about the upper echelon. We get that. We got a lot of people who are almost upper echelon, having jobs at places like Cabela's, earning $120,000 to $240,000 a year. I mean, we're talking about some of them making almost $250,000 a year. And when Cabela's sold out, what happened to all those people? Well, some of them found jobs elsewhere, decent jobs elsewhere, earning almost the same pay. But of course, we got to talk about the fact that we're losing those big jobs and we're replacing them with McDonald's jobs. But then McDonald's is, of course, phasing everyone out for self-checkouts. And then, of course, we've also got the situation with Walmart doing the same thing. Phasing out the jobs. Everything's going to be robotic. Everything's electronic. You don't need the poor people anymore. Basically, the rich can do whatever they want. I can't say this because it's a conspiracy theory. We can't talk about Epstein. It's a conspiracy theory. We can't talk about rich people fucking our children and buying them, having police officers steal blonde-haired, blue-eyed white girls under the age of 6 in specific. Oh yeah, that's not specifically targeted racially, is it? How much can a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white girl under the age of 6 actually fetch in the state of Colorado? Boulder County? Well, if it's a boy, up to $800,000. If it's a girl, up to $2.5 million. Most of that money goes to the state of Colorado. They steal homeless people's children. Meanwhile, these people are forced into homelessness. They didn't ask to be homeless. It's not like all of them are screw-ups like Amy Spencer, who chose abusive men and methamphetamines over her own kids. It's not like the situation with Rose M. Kelly, where she chose abusive men and alcohol over her kids. See, that's one of the toughest things to explain to y'all. Here in Hood River, there's a lot of nice people, but they're not going to do anything to stop this. If they see these things happening to a homeless people, it's not the same as if they see it happening to a black person. And if it's a black homeless person, they forget that it's a black person. That's not just here. That is in the state of Colorado. We got all this BLM crap being pushed on us. I will absolutely fight for black people's rights till the day I fucking die. Absolutely. I was raised with black folks and ignorant white people. When you got staff members that want to tell a young black man about what he needs to think about his mom getting shot in a fucking police raid, well, fuck that whitey. That lady can kiss my ass too. You know, there's a lot of this stuff. You guys see it on TV. You want to talk about 50 Cent, right? Like all the shit that he went through and how far back it goes. And I was raised, of course, not with 50 Cent. I never met the guy, ever. But a lot of people like him And a lot of people like me too. Now here in Oregon, they're trying to pull the same thing that they want to pull in Boulder. They want to pretend they liberal. But in reality, ain't nothing liberal about this. Nothing liberal about looking the other way. Oh, well, we don't want this happening to black folks, but it's a black homeless folk, so he's not a black person anymore. He's just a hobo. And hobos, well, they don't matter. He must be mentally ill. He's not black anymore, he's mentally ill. The fact that he's black no longer matters because he's mentally ill. Oh, he's mentally ill and homeless. The fact that he's black no longer matters because he's mentally ill and homeless. And you know what? We're not just sick of hearing this. We're sick of feeling it. We're sick and tired of our friends and loved ones ending up fucking corpses while you tell us you're fucking sorry. While you bitch about things that you were not there for, that you don't know shit about. But then again, when there is a major situation and you can change the world just by telling the truth, just by being honest, by telling yourself, you know what, it was fucked up, it's a screwed up situation, and as much as I am embarrassed, you know what, there are lives at stake, and that is more important than my fucking pride. That is more important than my manhood. Like Jimmy said earlier. That's right. She beats him often. But he don't hit her back because he's a real man. That's right. We're expected to take it. We have to. We're expected to fight everybody else's battles, but we're not allowed to fight our own. Even when we fight other people's battles, because we understand that it's our own. It's not just their rights being violated. A violation of an American's rights is a violation of every American's rights. A violation by the United States government against any citizen of the United States is fucking treason. And just because somebody doesn't have the money to have a roof over their head, just because somebody is victimized, especially people who are quote unquote mentally ill, these are at-risk adults. These are the most at-risk people in the country. And you're going to do them like this. You're going to say we can't compare this to Nazism, and we're putting these people in internment camps. We're putting them in quote-unquote reservations. We got American citizens screaming for blood because there's trash. Who fucking sold them that trash? Who is it that sold them that fucking Twinkie with that plastic wrapper? You guys don't want to see the homeless. You don't want the homeless coming into your establishment. If a homeless person steals your tip jar, well, you can use that as an excuse not to serve any homeless people. And I just found some pimp-ass glasses. Anybody drop their glasses?
No.
Cool. I'm gonna pretend I'm a badass. Get your motor running. Get out on the highway, looking for adventure, and whatever comes our way. All right, no Steppenwolf today. Actually, these glasses kind of make me look like a pig. Not essential. Well, apparently that officer is in a hurry. They must notice somebody poor driving down the street. We better pull them over. Now, of course, the more poor people are, the more connection they have to us. There's also a lot of people, they was homeless before, and they finally got up and out. And although they swore up and down, when they got up and out, they were going to reach down and lift the rest of us up. That's not what they do. When they get up and out, they want to forget about homelessness. They want to forget about wandering around half-dazed, trying not to pass out on your feet because it's illegal to sleep at night. Oh, and you guys want to pretend that doesn't exist because you're too lazy to even look these laws up. Meanwhile, As I keep saying, it ain't just the homeless. It's black homeless, it's Hispanic homeless, it's white homeless, it's male homeless, it's female homeless. We got Christian homeless, we got atheist homeless, we got Muslim homeless, we got Jewish homeless. Hell, we got a whole fucking homeless buffet. What you want, we probably got it. What you need, baby, I got it. That's right, all I'm asking for is a little respect. And you guys want to talk about how we got to earn your respect. You out your damn mind, son. And I'm going to tell you why. I give everyone respect. Everyone. Everyone I meet, I give respect. You don't have to earn my respect. When I see you, I can see that you are a human being, regardless of your gender, regardless of your color. You are a human being. And as a human being, yes, you are worthy of my respect. It is my disrespect which is earned. If you choose to be disrespectful, that is your choice. If your decisions get my friends and loved ones beaten or killed, that is your choice. It's also my choice to never shut up about it, and I never will. Now, like I said, there's a lot of good people here. Well, I didn't say that, did I? I said there's a lot of nice people here. And although there are probably some good people in this town, hey, Deanna, it's good to see you. I said it's good to see you. I didn't want to bug you because I'm making a live recording on YouTube. Yes, ma'am. Now, those folks there, they've been good to me. Now, of course, they're not going to help me fight against any of this shit with the cops. They're not going to help me fight with any of this stuff with the volunteers. And, of course, I'm not going to go to them for that. One of those ladies, she was telling me right after she told the cops that I wasn't the dude with the rocks. Next time I saw her, she told me a couple stories. Well, let's get off to the side of the road. Obviously, they're probably not going to drive up on the sidewalk, but we want to make sure that we're out of the way. And of course, laws here are the same as anywhere else. Well, I guess they turned away. So, this person who pulled over to the side of the road, as the law requires in this state, did the right thing. Even though they ended up turning back there, it's the sirens to let you know you need to do that. Wildwood Academy. That down there is apparently called the Ruins. And I've been invited to go there a couple of times by the folks at the gas station over there. I just haven't. Without you guys caring, without you guys doing what John Brown did for black folks. If you guys don't know who John Brown is, you might want to look up the words Harper's Ferry. That's right. That's what kick-started the Civil War into full production. And, well, what ultimately, although it was supposed to free all the blacks in the South, it really just made... I didn't quite hear what he said. It didn't sound unpleasant. He didn't seem to say it in a hateful voice, but I didn't catch what he said. He did wave as he was driving by saying it. Oh, the bamboo. Let's stop for this one. See, as much as the mentality of the people here is fucking shit, as far as human rights go, and of course the rules that they want to impose on the homeless are entirely different from what the law says, but the law makes it legal only in your own house for most of this stuff. You don't get to go to the bathroom outside, and they don't provide bathrooms for you. Now, there might be 300 homeless people that need to use the bathroom over the course of the summer. They don't have a place to go to the bathroom. And their excuse is that, well, they might find a dead body in there with a heroin needle in their arm. So, of course, then you end up with a bunch of people who are in trouble for having to go pee outside. You got people who are complaining that there is shit on the side of the road. There is shit just off the bike trails. There is shit just off the railroad tracks. There is shit all over the place. And I got to ask you a question. Every one of you in houses, do you ever shit? That's what I thought. You want to pretend that we asked to not have these resources. We have to go to the bathroom. We have to sleep. This is not a want. This is not a desire. This is a fucking necessity. Emptying my goddamn bowels is a fucking necessity. Urinating is a fucking necessity. You want me to get all backed up and fucking septic? Well, most of you do. You're taught that all homeless people are child molesters and rapists and drug dealers and all sorts of other creepy shit. No, we're your fucking victim pool. We're what happens when you don't get what you want. We're the people that you take it out on. We're the ones that you took it out on until we were actually at this point. And oh my God, those birds are so cute. Look at them. They're so tiny. I don't want to drop my phone in here, but damn, look at them. Woo! You go, homie. I'm like a bird, I don't fly away. I don't know where my home is. I don't know where my soul is. I'm feeling my way. Just that every time you try to tell me that you love me. Alright, I don't remember the lyrics to that song, do I? People say you need to be positive, Sean. You need to be positive, Sean. Have hope, Sean. Well, I do have hope. I have hope that if I keep busting my ass, we can change this. We can change this whole fucking thing around. We can stop telling people that it's worse everywhere else, so they just got to take it. We can stop telling the victims that they got to go to the back of the bus because they're the wrong color. We can stop telling the victims they got to go to the back of the bus because they're the wrong gender. We can stop telling people they got to go to the back of the bus, and we can accept the fact that they're victims too. They're victims of the same people as you. BLM wants to use the numbers created by police officers who want to victimize exclusively homeless people, including homeless black people. And BLM acknowledges this. MMIW acknowledges the same thing from their side. I have gathered this information. I have collected it. I have saved it. I have also collected and saved a database of witnesses and, of course, a database of victims, who their predators are, who they were, which ones are dead, which ones are not. Everywhere I go, the laws are apparently one way for everyone else and another for me. And we keep hearing from black folks, same thing on that end. And from native folks, same thing on that end. With all due respect, you think that MMIW, MMIP, and BLM could get together with some homeless folks and fucking hash this shit out? You think y'all, instead of spending $3.5 billion a year trying to invent new tents to help out the homeless, I'm sure it ain't that much, but you get the point. No matter how much money or time you fucking waste on your next big idea to help out the homeless without a place to put it, it don't matter. Also, I'm trying to pretend that my back don't hurt. I'm trying to pretend that everything is all right and copacetic and try to keep a open line of communication, at least here on YouTube and partially on Facebook, because, well, as I come to find out today, my Facebook doesn't want to work either. I gotta do some sort of system update thing on my phone, and I guess I've got like 3 of them backed up, and it'll take a while. The cops are ignoring people in houses now. They're still taking your money, aren't they? They're still taking that tax money. They're still arresting the poor people. They're still beating on people they think they can get away with beating on. And of course, who are those? The easiest people to do it to. The disabled, the quote-unquote mentally ill. Meanwhile, you guys don't want to fess up to the fact that it's the labels that are killing us, not our crimes. Being broke should not be a crime. The fact that Heinrich Himmler and Fritz Sauckel, in order to implement Adolf Hitler's final solution for the Jews, they didn't go after the Jews first, did they? No, they didn't. And who did they model their battle plan after? That would be the chain gangs that were created just after the Civil War. Yeah, we got all these black folks. They're all homeless. It's illegal for them to be homeless. We got an entire southern infrastructure that's been entirely destroyed. We got a bunch of northerners stealing what little factory equipment that we got and pushing us back to the Stone Ages. And of course, we got human beings that are all now criminals. We can now arrest our former slaves and make them slaves again. Oh, and also any other vagrants and vagabonds that we just happen to not like. Our church doesn't like that man. That's the big one in the South, ain't it? Where you can trash a man's name and, of course, justify it as if you're doing a good thing and saying a good thing for them or about them by saying, bless his heart or bless her heart. These laws aren't just in Nebraska. They're not just in Oregon. These tactics that the police have been using, they're not just in Nebraska. They're not just in Colorado. They're not just in Oregon. They're not just in Tennessee. They're not just in Virginia. They're not just in Washington. They're nationwide. They're not just in Wyoming. And where are all the places that I've collected evidence? Those states and more. Recordings of officers, recordings of my predators, recordings of the threats against my life and against my sister's life and against many others' lives. Yeah, I recorded it. I had to. But no matter what, the term mentally ill or the term homeless can deny me all of those rights immediately, and I never get them back. Anybody can pretend like I might or maybe could possibly do what? They all keep using things I don't have a history of doing. But they want to pretend, don't they? Like when they have to drive their car, do I pretend that their car, when they're driving to work or driving to school or whatever else it is they're driving to do I pretend that they specifically have that vehicle for terrorizing me and killing me? Oh, they're eventually going to run me over with that Chevy. They're gonna, I know. Everybody with a Chevy must be a fucking killer who runs people over. He's got a Chevy. Oh, God. My coffee is going to be frozen. I got $2.12 left on my food stamp card, so at least I got something cold. Stuck it in the center of this thing, so we got something at least. We got the hot ones over here. We could probably shove them in with them. I'll probably do that in a little bit, and then to try to conserve them, I'll likely wrap them up. I'll take out about 10 of them, and then I'll leave all the rest of them wrapped up in Probably this hoodie, one more hoodie, and even a blanket, and that way it's well insulated. There's frost on it. Let me show you this. Frost. Y'all say we got to do better. Don't say that. Don't. Actually do it. Individual cases are important to fight, as well as working together with the other victims. And I get some victims are not socially acceptable victims. Like me, for example, with the slander against me. Yeah, I'm not a socially acceptable victim. You mostly need to ask pretty white girls to be your advocates. You need pretty, blonde-haired, blue-eyed white girls to speak for your rights. If you're black, that's still what you need. If you're white, you still need a same thing. If you're Hispanic, you still need a pretty, blonde-haired, blue-eyed white girl. Holy shit, that's good as a slushy. Ah! It's not so good as a slushy. Anyway, if the last 6 years has taught you nothing, then you deserve everything that you got coming to you. Every sickness, every illness, every tax increase, every day that you don't get your toilet paper or your baby formula. You did that. You did that. You don't get to blame anybody else but yourself. You wanted to use your Second Amendment not for your Second Amendment rights, but to bully people and threaten and harass and intimidate people. We take away the guns of the victims, and then we leave them in the hands of the fucking racist rednecks. Is this not insanity? Am I really the crazy one for thinking that? Did you know Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. owned a gun? That's right. Did you know that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. utilized his gun and did shoot? That's right. He's not Gandhi. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. spoke out. Not just on black rights. Those aren't the only rights he fought for. He fought for civil and human rights for a reason. He believed that if he wasn't willing to fight for the rights of others, he ain't got no right to ask for people to fight for his. He's right. My favorite teachings come from Jesus, of course, and from Malcolm X, actually. But Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., I like his message more than Malcolm X's. But you see, both of those men, in the end, in order to protect their loved ones and protect their families, they had to do so with firearms. You just can't shove Pandora's bullshit back in that box. As soon as gunpowder was invented, that started inching us closer to equality. Making it so that instead of 6 foot tall Norse people getting to basically bash the shit out of anybody at will and magically win just because they're magically fucking huge. They're not magically huge. It come down to the diet that they had to eat because of the regions that they came from. At that time, they had a little mini ice age. Eating a lot more meat. And of course, eating more meat, they did get larger. Today, we don't have to believe in that might makes right thing. If a 6'2" Scandinavian with hair that's blonde and eyes that are blue decides that he wants to smash in your house with an axe and rape the fuck out of you, well, you got Granddaddy Colt to make you equal. I suggest you use it. For those of us who can't, it's not that we're not capable. It's that nothing good will come of it. I want you to imagine if prior to the Civil War, I want you to imagine what would happen if a white man had stuck some guns in the hands of black people in the South. Matter of fact, you don't even have to imagine it. You can read about it. It's part of American history.